Hey guys, it's Blake, and as you can see I've got some code written here. Let's not worry about that this second. I've been gone for a while, and I wanted to talk about a few things. One is that I've expanded my knowledge of coding languages. I've taken upon myself to learn C#, and that's one of the primary reasons why I'm gone. And I'm going to start making some C# tutorials. C# is very useful. As you can see, this little icon I've got my mouse on. It's my own internet browser. Fast. It works too. It's very simple. Go to multiple websites. I haven't implemented a tab yet. A tab option, which I think I'm gonna do. That'd be pretty useful. You know, very simple to use. And C# is used for primarily tools like that, because you can create your own web browser, a calculator. I've seen people make practically everything. Very useful for apps. And we've got our C++ here, which is very strong and useful. And you can also use it for that, but it's slightly more complicated. And I think we're going to get into some of those Windows forms, which is how I made that internet browser. So yeah, let's basically take a look at what this code does. So enter a number between 1 and 10. If I enter 11, because it's higher than 10, it's too high of a number or too low of a number, so I need to try again. -1, less than 1, or even 0 too. And then if I enter a number that's in between those, it prints all the numbers up to 10. Easy enough, right? Well, you're going to notice a few things. I've got a Boolean value here. Got that little method. I've got this thing called an OR operator. Sorry about that. Got a double equal sign. I've got a while loop. And I've got a plus plus thing there. And this should be everything that's new to you guys. Anyways, so I'm going to start from top to bottom and read it to you. Okay. Well, this is a Boolean value. I think I've already talked about those, but I didn't explain them too well. And that kind of irritated me, so I was thinking about making another video where I included them and where I taught them to you better. So this is going to be that video. It equals false. The Boolean's name is X and equals false. The console tells me to enter a number between 1 and 10. I've got my integer y here. And I've got a method called try again, which we're going to worry about later. So I say my variable, and that could mean anything. So we've got some stupid breakpoint. But we've got a few things inside of this that are new to you guys. This OR statement. If you don't know how to use those, they're located in between the backspace key and the enter key on most QWERTY keyboards. And you have to use shift, and then you type them twice. They look like absolute value signs. But that is not what they mean. Yeah, they will not do absolute value. If you tried to use them for absolute value, you'd be screwed, because you'd have to use an abs function, which is like that, and then put your numbers inside of it. But you'd also have to do you'd also have to include that to use the absolute value. There's some insight of why these will not work for that. But back to the point. So if y is greater than 10, or y is less than 1. So that's all it does. It just says or it's less than 1. We could even have more of them in there. Or y is greater than 100, or y is less than -100. It can go on forever, but for most cases you should be able to get what you want to say done with just one simple OR operator. So if it's greater than or less than those parameters, then x is going to equal true. Now if we looked up here, we had it set to false. If it's false, it doesn't do anything. But here we have it set to true, And if x is equal to true, then do this. But anyways, this is a double equals operator. And just to show you guys here, so let's say I had two things to compare. So I'm going to have my x, my into y, and I had to compare them. Then that's how I'm going to explain it now. Sorry for the crappy notepad format, it's kind of running together, so I'm going to space this out here. And let's just tab all this. Oops. Didn't know that didn't work in this. Okay. So this is going to be our code. And pretend that we were looking at our code and we need to see, okay, is x equal to y? This is how you would compare them. If we had an equals sign, that would be giving x the value of y. So let's say that x equaled 10. Let's say that y equaled 6. If we had this, x equals 10 up here, but x equals y. So that means x now equals 6. So what it means is if x equals 6, then do stuff. That's probably not what you want to do. So we can have these double equals operators, and it says if x is the same as y, meaning that x can still be 10 and y can still be 6. So for instance, if x ever happened to drop down in value to 6, then do this. But it doesn't change, it doesn't give it y's value. If that makes sense. I hope it does. That's a comparison operator. And if it equals true, then the console is going to say that's either too high of a number or too low of a number. Try again. Then we get into this goTo function. Now this goTo function jumps to wherever it sees this. Now where's try again? Up here. So it jumps to this point. And it's got a colon after it. And that states that it's a point that can be jumped to, basically. If that makes sense. So it's going to go to right here. The reason I put it after that variable is because if I put it before it, it would allocate more memory, and it would just make the program run smoother. Run smoother if you did it like this. And also because it's right there and you can just immediately say what you want to say. And then we get into this function, a while loop. I don't believe I've talked about loops. If I have, then it's going to be a little bit of a repeat here. I'm too lazy to check my videos. So while y is less than 10. So it's really self-explanatory. So while meaning during the time, it's less than 10. So this is basically our function right here. So this can mean y can equal 1 through 9. Basically. So any of those numbers, 1 through 9, would apply in this case. And while, meaning that as soon as it reaches 10, it's not going to apply anymore. Really hope that makes sense. And it's going to do stuff, whatever we have it set to. But what do we have it set to? Well, if it's not, so if it's less than 10, oops, or y is greater than 1, actually, we would actually have to use that. Then do this. Now the reason I had to put that double operand in there, the double ampersand I think is what it's called, instead of those, is because this means and. You have to put two of them. One means something different. don't worry about what it means when it's singular, it's not that helpful. But anyways, it means that both these statements have to be true. It's another comparison operator. It's taking this and it's comparing it to this. So while y is less than 10 and y is greater than 1. So if one of those wasn't true, it wouldn't do this. Then x equals false. So we're putting our Boolean value back to a false value because we're not really using it anymore. It doesn't need to be evaluated to true. So if it equals false, which it does, then y plus plus. And it's going to say y. So what the plus plus... What the hell did I mess up? Missing line 12. Where's 12? It's 10, 11... Oops, I never got rid of that OR operator, did I? Okay, so what that plus plus means is, you see how I entered 4 and it added 1 to it each time? So you see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 until it got to 10? Okay, well, what that means is it just adds 1 to the value each time while it goes through the loop. So if it's 4, it's going to check, is it within these parameters? Yes, 4 is within these parameters. So set that to false and add 1 to it and say it. So it's going to say 5. Now is 5 less than this? Yes, it is. So add 1 to it and then it's going to say 6. And it's going to repeat that constantly. And just to prove that it works to you with other numbers, let's do 1. Sorry. This less than or greater than or equal to 1 was what it should be. Then it's going to say those numbers. So thank you guys for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe, and look forward to my new videos. I'm going to put some C# ones up today. Fun.